rare fighter plane. It's not been seen for almost a century, but it's now been given a new lease of life thanks to a group of Yorkshire aviation enthusiasts.
The Eastchurch Kitten was a prototype plane that was poised to take on Zeppelin airships during World War I. It never saw any action because it was deemed too fragile and it vanished from the skies.
But now, after a labour of love lasting 4 years, volunteers at the Yorkshire Air Museum have brought it back to life. Ben Erlen reports.
It was dubbed the disposable aircraft, a high-altitude fighter launched from a battleship to simply go up, intercept and shoot down Zeppelin airships, and then ditch in the sea. But the design of the Eastchurch Kitten was found to be unstable. The threat of airships receded and the project was abandoned. And it's taken volunteers at the Yorkshire Air Museum almost 2 years to lovingly reconstruct this aircraft from very faded and sketchy prints dating back to 1917.
It's not exactly true because we didn't have any drawings. If I had the drawings, I could have made it exactly the same. But there are slight differences. But basically, it's the same shape, it's the same size. It's the, most of it's built the same.
Well, it's unique. It was an extremely special aeroplane made as an experiment in 1917 to try and counter the threat of Zeppelins. Of course, there was no radar in those days, and the attacks of Zeppelins had quite an effect on the population of Britain, who had never succumbed to this sort of attack before.
The Kitten never actually saw any action, but when berthed alongside the most successful fighter of the Great War, it's not hard to imagine how hazardous a pilot's mission would have been.
Oh, I wouldn't fly. I'm an ex-pilot. I learned to fly when I was 17. But to sit in this and fly this, no way. Too dangerous.
The amount of courage that you had to have to go in for this is something that people today perhaps can only admire.
And there'll be a further chance to admire the heroics of these brave young men and see both of these historic aircraft up close when they go on display in Leeds city centre on May the 21st. Ben Erlen, ITV News, Elvington.
Meanwhile, another World War I relic has been rediscovered after a lockkeeper found a Great War